spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Hello everyone, thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my most favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. You can follow me on social media. I got links in the descriptions below. I've also got a description to these two issues that we're going to be reviewing. You got links to the Marvel Wiki, so you can take a look if you'd like. We're going to be looking at Amazing Spider-Man 121 and 122 from 1973. I wasn't even born yet. I am old, but I was not born till the year after. I do not own the originals of these. I have copies of them. I have several copies of these. I have the Marvel Tales issues that deal with this. I also have the Epic collection that was released, and I also have another trade paperback that had kind of like the whole saga in it. So this is considered the greatest Spider-Man story of all time. It's subjective, but it is pretty cool. So we start with this iconic cover by John Romita. Rest in peace. He died about a month ago from the time of this recording. And someone's going to die, but he doesn't know who it is. So I have to tell you, they don't do this anymore in comic books. The line work and the marks, you just don't see this anymore. So that is pretty cool. One last thing I want to say about the cover and about the art is just, you don't see modern artists make these marks. Particularly here, if you look at Gwen Stacy, you would never see that. The lines here on the back of Spider-Man, you'll still see, you know, the lines up here on the brow, but you just, like I said, and I think it's implying cheekbones is what this is implying, but like I said, you just won't see many modern artists still make those marks. Sean Phillips, who works a lot with Ed Brubaker and all of the creator-owned stuff, he does a lot of marks. So he's a modern artist, but doesn't draw very modernly. So I just think it's cool. So that's all I'll say about that. So let's start here. So we are here with Spidey looking through the outside. So Mary Jane is here and Gwen Stacy's here, and this is Harry Osborn. And Harry took LSD, which is giving him like I don't know, like a psychosis, and he's not doing very well. We have our credits here with Gil Kane, who has passed away, and John Romita, who also has passed away. So RIP to both of these dudes. So this dude here is the Osborn family doctor, and he would like to have Harry go to a hospital, but Norman Osborn wants to keep it quiet, and Gwen guesses that he has been taking drugs again. So here he says he's taken LSD, and he's giving him a shot of Thorine to see if it offsets the drugs. Harry has been going through some depression, but there says that, you know, Harry's been dealing with schizophrenia, so that's what apparently made the LSD so bad. Spider-Man understands why Gwen wanted him home. He was battling the Hulk in the previous issue. Um, Spider-Man decides to go back to being Peter and being with Harry to go help him out. And so he's going to go see him. He's trying to be careful because he knows that he's not welcome there. And Norman confronts him and told him that he had warned him not to go near Harry. You can see Norman is clearly upset. Norman wants Peter to go. Peter said, he had, you know, what's happening to Harry isn't his fault, but Norman is blaming him for everything, and says it is his fault. Peter, of course, knows that Norman is the Green Goblin, um, but the Green Goblin has forgotten. Has got some kind of selective amnesia, so the Goblin hasn't forgotten. Again, look at these marks. I'm impressed. I see them, particularly in older comic books. It's just you just don't see that very much anymore. So Peter does end up leaving, but the ladies do see him. Norman kicks them all out. And so everybody goes down. Gwen is here stating, they just wanted to make things better. Peter says some people just don't like good people. So they all feel bad for Harry. And Osborn here is learning that the stock is down again. And if it keeps going, he will be wiped out and lose everything. Harry overhears him. I love how they do this, that he's shaking. Harry, despite everything, feels very bad for his dad, for everything that's sort of been going on, and knows that his life is falling apart. And Norman calls for his family doctor to come. So now we see Peter back as Spider-Man. So if you take a look at these little things, these little white dots here, that's how they would indicate that someone's not feeling good. They're feeling groggy. So Peter thinks he's catching some kind of virus or something when he was up in Canada. So here you can see, again, that's how they would illustrate that someone's not feeling well. So he's going to deliver some pictures to get paid, and gives them to Robbie, or Joe Robertson, but everybody calls him Robbie. Robbie tells him to watch for Jonah, and of course, right on cue, Jonah comes in and tells him to get rid of Peter. He doesn't want employees getting sick, and so Robbie tells him to please leave. And Peter just said to just mail him his check. And Jonah's like, what's check for? And he's like, because he sent them to Montreal to take some pictures of the Hulk, and he's brought them in. So Peter's going to head home, and then he wants to talk with Gwen because they haven't talked in a while. And with the problems going on with Harry, he thinks it'll be nice for them to have a bit of a chat. So the family doctor says there's not much he can do for him, only Harry can help himself now. And so they bid themselves goodnight. Of course, Norman is having some delusions. He says, it's the friends, enemies everywhere surrounding them. And he thinks he sees Spider-Man and thinks he came to gloat. He wants to kill him. So Norman's not doing very good. He has a bit of psychosis also. So Norman gets a rush of memories, and it says here reminding him and tormenting him, and so he runs out. He just can't take those memories, and he goes into this building here and turns into, or changes into, he doesn't turn, he changes into the Green Goblin. He of course has hatred for Spider-Man, and seems to want to get even with him. He blames Spider-Man from keeping him from himself. He knows he's the one that he blames him, saying he's the one that made him forget that he's the Goblin. And the Green Goblin goes in his glider and is out to kill Spider-Man. In the meantime, Gwen Stacy is here. She's in Peter's apartment, so the Green Goblin has remembered, and there he is, coming toward the apartment. Gwen wanted to talk to Peter kind of as well, so bit of a drama going on. So now, unbeknownst to Peter, he's heading home, and he almost lost his balance because he's not feeling very well. So he crawls down to his apartment, not feeling very well. And when he comes inside, he sees the one of the pumpkin bombs, and then some kind of satchel. I don't know whether it's his or Gwen's. I would imagine. Let's see. Was Gwen wearing a satchel? Yep. So Gwen's satchel. So I guess I didn't even have to turn around. It was right here. So it's the one that he gave him for Christmas. So he knows the Green Goblin has Gwen, so he comes out and is going to try to find her. So he's searching for Gwen. Of course, it's a big city, so his spider sense, it's sort of leading him. It says here. So toward the George Washington Bridge, and of course here's the Green Goblin there, and he knows of course that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. He remembered here, so he's gonna make an offer to Peter. Either he dies or Gwen Stacy dies. So Peter doesn't like either of those choices. Peter's not gonna take the he's not gonna just take it lying down. And again, he's not feeling very well, so he's fighting the Goblin sort of while he's sick. So he is at a clear disadvantage because he had that cold. But he's holding his own. Gil Kane is a great artist in his own right, but with the inks from John Romita Jr., I love that thick brush that Romita's using. So Spider-Man is doing everything he can to defeat the Goblin and knocks him down. And so now he's running toward Gwen, but the Goblin recovers, and he's ready to go there, but he knocks her down, and Gwen is falling to her death. So he is going to try and catch her, so he releases his webbing and he gets it, but you hear this snap here, and he is trying to bring her up, but Gwen, he thought he maybe saved her, but her neck is broken, and she is unfortunately has passed. You know, for the longest time, people were like, "So who killed her?" You know, did Spider-Man kill Gwen Stacy? Well, he didn't drop her. He was trying to catch her, unfortunately. So it was a tragic accident as far as meaning he wasn't trying to kill her, but it's the Green Goblin who pushed her. You know, he's saying she was dead um, before the webbing reached her, but it can't be because again, that if you go back here, snap. So it is, you know, the Goblin's saying she was already dead, but you know, so I guess we don't know, but regardless, Spider-Man is very angry, and he is going to want to get even with that. And even says here, for that you're gonna die. So you normally don't see Spider-Man be like that because he's such a hero, but he's quite angry. So we are going to move on to the next issue, 122. A great cover here by John Romita as well. The Green Goblin's Last Stand. We'll show the cover one more time before we go in. Like I said, I have this in the reprint with Marvel Tales. I have both of them. So the Goblin is flying around telling him that she's dead, but not to worry, they won't be apart too long because he's going to join her in death. So, the Goblin's Last Stand. Peter, of course, says that if only one person is going to die today, and it won't be him. So, again, same team from last issue. So he swings out with Gwen's body, and he leaves her body in the in a dock because he is gonna go fight, so he doesn't want any further injuries to her body. So off goes the two to fight. You know, a lot of people have heard a lot about this story, but I don't know how many people have actually looked at the issues. So it's like I said, I like doing this digitally because it just looks so much better. I know that cartoonist Kayfabe and Tom Scioli does it too, and a few others where they just show you the comics, and that's fine and dandy. But I prefer to just allow people to be able to see more without, you know, so they can see it in full done. So I like showing them digitally. So Goblin got away, so they've already found her body. Spider-Man doesn't want people touching her, so he arrives there, and he's like telling everybody not to touch her. These cops, of course, think that he killed her. So the main guy here says he doesn't see any proof of that. So Peter's, of course, really hurt. Again, look at you just don't see these marks that much anymore. That's for the shoulder, just boom boom, just really cool. And so Peter's remembering how he fell in love with Gwen and about the death of her father, Captain Stacy. So, and then Harry was with Mary Jane. So, kind of a cool, neat flashback. And then he tells everybody that Spider-Man did kill her, but of course, they want him to go for questioning, and Spider-Man refuses and pushes the cops away and tries to get away. And of course, they both shoot at him, and he's like, "Shoot to wound, shoot to wound." I don't think you're supposed to shoot at people that are running away, but he did. He did attack him first. So look at this, hitting the top of a building. So um, I don't think so. Not from that angle. So Spider-Man has managed to get away and changes into Peter, and you can see in his eyes he's just not doing very well. And he went into Osborn's home, so he wants to confront Norman Osborn, and sees or finds that Harry is still, of course, recovering, because you don't recover from drugs that quickly. So Peter's not feeling very helpful at that moment, so he just walks away while Harry begs for help. And he just leaves, and Harry gets up to try and find him, and he's just begging Peter, but Peter just is not in a very, like I said, he's not in a very caring mood, so he leaves Harry alone. So as Spider-Man, he's looking for Norman Osborn and can't find him, so he thinks maybe Robbie um, can help him. And he sees that Gwen Stacy has died, and it of course shocks him very much. And remembers that she knew her dad, and Spider-Man tells him that it is true that she has passed. Of course, the police already said that he's responsible, and Peter wants to know if, or two things. He wants to know if Norman Osborn's been seen anywhere around the last hour, and if he owns any unusual properties. So he makes a few phone calls. Robbie does find that he does own a warehouse, and that he was seen there just 40 minutes ago. And Spider-Man says he owes him, and suddenly he says, "Hold it!" And it was, of course, J. Jonah Jameson. And of course is yelling at him and says that he's a murderer. Robbie's trying to tell him that he isn't, but Spider-Man just webs his mouth, and Spider-Man tells him, maybe next time he'll keep his mouth shut about things he doesn't understand, but he doubts that he will. So Spider-Man's gonna see if he can find the Goblin, and of course, showing the sweats and stuff. So he's having a mental breakdown. All the Goblin wants is to kill Peter, and he says it's all that matters. And he hears the sound and just assumes that it's Spider-Man, and says Spider-Man's not gonna catch me or get him that easy. And of course, they begin another fight here. Spider-Man jumps into his glider and destroys it, which angers the Goblin. In this part here, because they didn't show him throwing a bomb, it always was like, well, is this a bomb he threw, or is this the glider that exploded? So, but Peter's like, you just killed the woman I love, and he's angry about his glider. Look at how the web was done. Todd McFarlane really did change that webbing to be something that people now completely imitate all the time. Um, Norman is not concerned about Gwen. Peter tried to say, that a person is more important than their little fancy gimmicks, and Osborn's like, no, he's the most important thing, which angers Spider-Man, and begins to punch him and punch him and punch him. And he decides, I can't do this. And he says, man, if I would have kept hitting him, I would have killed him. But the Goblin used his remote controlled glider and turned it on. So there must have been a bomb, so the thing didn't blow up. So he is going to hit Spider-Man from behind, and he, of course, moves out of the way when his spider sense is tingling, and it hits the Green Goblin, and the Green Goblin dies. And then he falls to his death, and Peter thought it would mean more, but he's just he's a little upset that it was an accidental. He says when people dies, it shouldn't mean something, shouldn't be an accident. And then he thought that seeing the Goblin die would make him feel better about Gwen. Instead, it just makes him feel empty. So as Peter walks out, he's seen by somebody, but the identity, of course, is hidden to us. So just because we're not going to cover it, but this is Harry Osborn. This is how Harry discovers, not that Peter is Spider-Man, but that Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. This is the path that sends Harry down the path to get revenge on Spider-Man. But he doesn't know Spider-Man is Peter. But I just figured I would tell you, because I'm not going to cover it. But so we kind of get an epilogue, and Peter arrives, and Mary Jane's at his apartment. She tells him that she's torn up, and he, of course, finds it. He's angry at that. Peter's, of course, lashing out because he's very upset, and tells her to leave, and she is, but then closes the door. So, and then Luke Cage will show up in the next issue, but again, we're not covering that. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 120 and 121. They're in the description below. You can, 121 and 122 in the description below are links to both issues where you can go into the Marvel Wiki, and you can see what happened before, what happened next if you like. So, thanks for listening. Bye.